This section is going to solely focus on rubrics used in Schoology and Google Classroom. Rubrics are helpful for students because they know exactly what criterion they'll be evaluated on before they begin the assignment. Students clearly understand their grade when teachers use a rubric, and digital rubrics can help save time during the grading process. You can easily click on criterion and the system will tally points automatically to calculate a grade. At the beginning, it might take some time to transfer your paper copies of a rubric to a digital one, but digital copies also can be shared, saved, modified, and applied to other assignments. Schoology has built-in rubrics that you can add to assessments, assignments, discussions, and tests and quizzes. Be aware that when using these with the assessment and test and quiz materials, that they only apply to open response and short answer questions. I've included a link here on the slide so that you can visit Schoology's guide to using rubrics. And this next slide also shares a quick video tutorial of using Schoology rubrics. Both of these resources are going to be linked in the digital feedback website. So now I'm just going to take a minute to walk you through what it looks like in Schoology. So here I am in my sample Schoology course. I have a folder that is going to have some digital feedback examples I'm going to use to show you how some of these tools work. So for example, one of the first assignments I have here is a narrative writing prompt that I wanted students to complete. So this is actually a rubric from a third grade Lucy Calkins narrative writing unit. And I have filled out this rubric when I created my assignment. You can also do it in your grade setup. You can create more rubrics there. But here is what students would also see. When they go into the assignment, they might see a description, they're going to see the due date, and then they'll see the actual rubric showing all the different criteria that they're going to be graded upon. Now as a teacher, I can see all my submissions on the right-hand side. So Peter Brady has submitted an assignment. So I can open up his submission to view and then to grade. So you'll notice in here, I can view his assignment here on the left-hand side. I might want to make this a little bit larger. I can minimize by using this caret that's pointing to the right. So it makes his submission larger. But up here in the top right-hand corner is where I can access my rubric I had created. So I can click on this box, and that's going to pull out a detailed summary of my rubric. I can see all my different criteria and then the ratings. When I'm ready to grade, I can easily just check my boxes. I can read, so I could minimize this by using the arrow pointing to the right. I can continue to read, and then when I get to another portion of the rubric I know I need to grade, I can pop it back out. I can also make this a little bit smaller and show a less detailed view by using this icon that's right below the caret. So it makes my rubric smaller. So I could still read a bit and grade at the same time if that's something that appeals to me. So you'll notice that it has tallied up all the scores at the bottom. When I'm ready, I can hit save. And then next to the grading rubric, there's also a little speech bubble. This is where I can add a comment. I'm going to cover comments more in the next section, but some teachers that I had talked about actually having a preloaded Google Doc of comments for a certain unit. So in another tab, I might have feedback comments for personal narrative, in which I could take an overarching comment and I could copy and go back to my Schoology tab and paste that comment in and show it to the student. And I could go through and I could add more comments if I wanted, but this is another way to give a little bit more personalized feedback on using a rubric. But we'll cover this a little bit more in the next topic. So once I'm ready, I can hit submit. And then Peter will be able to see his grade. Google Classroom also has built-in rubrics. You can create, reuse, share, view, and grade rubrics for individual assignments. You can give feedback with scored or unscored rubrics. If a rubric is scored, the student will see their score when you return the assignment. Below are two resources. One links to the Google support page, and the other is a video on how to create and use rubrics in Google Classroom. but I'm also going to take a minute again to walk you through what this would look like in Google Classroom. So this is just a quick tutorial of how a rubric would look in Google Classroom. So here I am in my Google Classroom under the Classwork tab. And if I haven't already created an assignment, I can hit Create Assignment. And I could create my personal narrative assignment where students are going to submit work. I can fill in the appropriate details if needed, but at the bottom there's a place for a rubric. Here gives me the option to either create a rubric by adding in all the criteria and the different levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, however it is being graded. I can also reuse a rubric that I had used previously, so I can click Reuse Rubric and select a personal narrative rubric that I have already created. So because I've already run through this example before, I'm just going to go into the personal narrative writing that has a submission already living in it. So as a teacher, I can see the writing assignment I have created is my personal narrative. One student has turned it in, and here's the rubric I have created. So again, this is the Lucy Calkins rubric for narrative writing in 3rd grade, graded out of 4 points. These are a few of the criteria scales that she includes. Now I can enter this assignment and see that one student has submitted this. I'm just going to quickly go over to show you how it looks for the student. So this is Peter Brady's dashboard. So he can see the assignment that I posted. He can click here to view the rubric, just as I did before. The carets allow him to minimize or maximize the rubric so we can see different pieces. So it looks similar to what the teacher sees as well. So I'm going to go back to what it looks like for the teacher. And as Peter Brady's assignment sits here, I can open it. And then I can start to grade his assignment. You'll notice on the right-hand side, there's a part for his grade. And then I see my actual rubric, so my overall score, the score for the lead, transitions, and the ending. If I want to see the detailed view of it, I can use the carets that are pointing down to pop it out, and I can also pick these to grade. You'll notice a 3 out of 4 was automatically auto-populated. I can then minimize this and go down to the next criteria, pop it out, grade it as needed. I can also make his writing a little bit bigger by using the caret in the bottom of the screen to minimize where my rubric scale was. Then I can pop it back out. And then finally, when I'm done, I can just score the rest, and then there's a place for a comment. So again, teachers have mentioned having a Google Doc open that has comments that they have used before that have just been worded really well, and sometimes they will copy from that Google Doc comment. They can paste it into the comment section and they can post it to that student. There's also the option to add or to pull from a comment bank that I'll talk about when we get into the annotation section, which is the next tool. And finally, when I'm ready, I can hit return to submit this back to the student.